Welcome to session 24 of Through the Bible in 90 Days. Today we will look at three takeaways from 2 Samuel chapter 22 verse 18 through 1 Kings chapter 7 verse 37. How God is our ultimate source of strength and deliverance in times of danger and distress. How God remains faithful to his covenant and promises even when we are unfaithful. And how our worship and reverence for God are essential to experiencing his presence and his favor. I'm Dr. J. David Taylor. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Let's get started. Takeaway 1. God is our ultimate source of strength and deliverance in times of danger and distress. In 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 18 to 20, David praises God for delivering him from his enemies and from the hands of Saul. David recounts God's intervention in his life, recognizing that his victories were not by his own strength, but by God's mighty power. See, this demonstrates that in times of trial, we can rely on God as our protector and deliverer. When we face challenges, whether in leadership, relationship, or any circumstance, God is the one who fights for us. So for believers today, it is a reminder that God is our refuge, and we should continually rely on his strength to overcome life's battles. The scripture says this: he delivered me from my enemy and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 18. The scripture further says, and he brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. 2 Samuel 22, verse 20. Second takeaway, God remains faithful to his covenant and promises, even when we are unfaithful. So in 2 Samuel chapter 22, verses 21 to 25, David recognizes that God rewards him according to his righteousness and obedience. Though David had his flaws and his failures, his relationship with God was marked by his genuine desire to follow God's commands. This passage highlights that God's faithfulness to his covenant is not dependent on our perfection, but on his steadfast love and righteousness. So for believers today, this is a reminder that despite our imperfection, God's promises remain true. He is faithful, and his covenant to us gives us security. The scripture says this: the Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands hath he recompensed me. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 21. The scripture further says, with the merciful thou wilt show thyself merciful. With an upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 26. Takeaway 3. Our worship and reverence for God are essential to experiencing his presence and his favor. In 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 50 to 51, David praises God for his deliverance and declares that he will sing praises to God among the nations. David's heart of worship is evident in his constant response to God's actions in his life. This teaches us that true worship is not just about ritual, but about acknowledging God's greatness and his works in our everyday lives. For believers, this is a reminder that our worship should be sincere, flowing from a heart that truly recognizes God's faithfulness and God's majesty. See, worship is not just an act. It is a lifestyle of honoring God in all things. The scripture says it like this: therefore I will give thanks unto thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and I will sing praises unto thy name. 2 Samuel 22:50. It further says, he is the tower of salvation for his king, and showeth mercy to his anointed, unto David, and to his seed forevermore. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 51. So I ask you, what does it mean to truly trust in God for our deliverance? For David, it meant recognizing that his victories were not, one of them was by his strength, but by God's power alone. In 2 Samuel chapter 22 verses 18 to 20, David recounts how God delivered him from his enemies and placed him in a large, secure place. When we are surrounded by challenges, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. But the God who delivered David is the same God who is with us today. He is our protector. And when we rely on his strength, we will experience the victory that he has promised. So here's our challenge. We often try to face the battles of life on our own, relying on our own wisdom, relying on our own strength, and even relying on our own resources. But the real issue is just this. We can't do it alone. And just like David, it is critical that we rely on God and God alone as our protector and our deliverer. We truly need to acknowledge that we are weak without God. See, the challenge is to stop depending on ourselves and start fully trusting in God's ability to fight for us. Are we willing to hand over our battles to God? Are we willing to trust that he will fight on our behalf? Let's change our perspective. Instead of viewing life's challenges as obstacles that we have to face alone, what if we saw them as opportunity for God to demonstrate his power in our lives? And just as David recognized that his strength came from God, we too must see that it is God's power, and that is the key to overcoming life's battles. God is not distant. He is an active deliverer. And when we truly rely on him, my friends, we tap into the power that can change any situation. So let's stop trying to fight in our own strength and let God fight for us. See, the victory is his, and he's calling us to walk in that truth. This is the moment to take action, my friend. Will you trust God for your deliverance? Will you let go of trying to do it all on your own and rely fully on his strength? Just as David's worship flowed from his recognition that it wasn't him, it was God's power that delivered him, our worship should flow from a heart that recognizes that it was God's ability to deliver, that delivered us. We must respond to God's ability. That is our response, ability. We are responding to God's ability. So when we turn to God, our hearts should overflow with praise, knowing that he is the one who fights for us. Now is the time, my friend, to lay down your worries and trust in God's deliverance. No matter what you face, God is bigger, God is stronger, and more than able to bring you victory. I challenge you today. Will you, I can't say it enough, stop relying on your own strength and start trusting in God to fight for you? Will you give your battles to him, knowing that he is faithful to deliver? Today is the day to step into God's power, to recognize that he is your deliverer, and then to worship him with a heart of gratitude, because the battle is the Lord's. Whatever you're facing, trust, please trust that God is working on your behalf. Will you this day release control and trust God to deliver you? I got 3 personal declarations that reflect my personal willingness to align with God's divine will. I declare that I will trust God for my deliverance, knowing that he is my protector, and my strength. I declare that I will live a life of worship, acknowledging God's sovereignty in every area of my life. And I declare that I will stop relying on my own strength and trust in God's power to overcome every obstacle in my life. My time is up. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. J. David Taylor. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you next time.